Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to talk about the 94th Academy Awards, the Oscars, which are airing in a couple of days on Sunday. So we're here to give our predictions, talk about what we want to see, what we think will happen, what we want to actually happen. Usually they don't always line up, but Aaron, how are you doing today? Are you excited for the Oscars?
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. We'll be talking about all the major characters. We'll be talking about all the major categories, except, of course, documentary short, film editing, makeup and hairstyling, original score, production design, animated short, live action short, and sound.
Yeah, I've completely erased those categories from my brain, so I just heard gibberish.
Yeah,
I don't
even know what I was just reading off.
I can't wait for this to break the Super Bowl's viewer record. It's going to have more watchers than Barcelona versus Real Madrid because they eliminated those categories.
Yep.
So congratulations
good job,
to all that ad money rolling in it. Yeah, no, we're going to jump right in. We're going off of the website. So we're going to jump around from the categories. We're going to start with the major acting categories. And the first one here is actor in a leading role. We have Javier Bardem for being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. So, Aaron, I know you've got your ear to the whispers and the rumblings of who's the favorite, who's going to pull out some of these awards.
I'm just on Twitter.
Just on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, who are you hearing for Best Actor in a leading role? Who's the favorite going into Sunday?
I think it's Will Smith, and I think it's one of those things where I don't think, maybe he's not the most deserving. I think, obviously everyone has been commending his performance, and it's not like a complete shock and he shouldn't win, but I think Will Smith as just how long has Will Smith just been in your, world, your sphere? Dude,
it's going to be 3 decades now that this guy's been a movie star.
So it's
I think Independence Day, that's early 90s when he really came onto the scene. This could be, it feels like a culmination, even though he's got so much career left to go. But yeah, he's one of the last movie stars where certified A-lister, it's like the Hall of Fame argument. Is Will Smith going to the Hall of Fame? You don't need to think about it.
Yes.
He's that guy.
But he still needs his ring.
Yeah, and he's been so successful through music, through film, on television as well. I hear the Fresh Prince reboot is just an absolute hoot. But this would be such a special moment for his career because he's always been a talented actor. It's one of those cases where he just hasn't picked the best movies. But when you put him in a role where he can really thrive and show off his acting chops, you get performances like his in King Richard. It was such an inspirational story, and you could tell that it was a story that was very important to him, that he wanted to not only honor the legacy of Richard Williams, but their daughters as well, because he had such a strong impact on their lives. But other performances, I don't know who's splitting the votes here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Benedict. I mean, Javier Bardem had a little bit of steam earlier on, but
that would really disappoint me because, once again, I have to say, being the Ricardos, I don't think it deserves any of the nominees that it got.
No.
That's just based on my opinion of the movie. And Javier Bardem, it's a stacked 5 actors here. I don't think he deserves it for this performance. So I'm kind of glad that's cooled off.
And I think Denzel was my favorite performance of the year. And
yeah, on this list, it's probably Denzel for me.
It just sucks. It's just I think if Will Smith wasn't here, this movie came out last year or next year and he wasn't nominated for this category, I think we'd be talking about Denzel. Like I said, I think we talked about this on the podcast, kudos for just to cast him as Macbeth. That's just the best casting ever. He was so fucking good in that movie. And someone who particularly doesn't it's not that I hate Shakespeare, but it's not really my thing, but I was just enthralled with that movie as a whole, really. And all the performances, the way it was shot, I really liked The Tragedy of Macbeth. So it's kind of a shame it's not getting more love except for cinematography, and I think this category are the only ones it's nominated for. But for me...
Yeah, there were a couple of actors in that movie that I thought could have warranted nominations, especially Corey Hawkins. He doesn't have a lot of screen time as Macduff, but I think that final confrontation between the two of them, both of them were just bringing their A-games.
Fresh names, too. Macbeth, Macduff.
Oh, yeah. No, Shakespeare, his pen game, man. Don't sleep on Billy Shakes. Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, that would set off the internet. There's so many people out there that would love to see that.
I loved him in this movie.
Yeah.
I love Tick, Tick, Boom, too.
4 very strong performances here because I think The Power of the Dog, Benedict Cumberbatch, may have been arguably his best performance ever. So you could argue that with Will Smith as well and with Denzel. Garfield's got, he's accumulating some pretty good performances over the years now.
Right.
Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, it's the resurgence of Garfield," but I feel like he hasn't gone anywhere.
No, and rightfully so. Everyone's talking about Jessica Chastain, who is one of the front runners for Eyes of Tammy Faye, but Andrew Garfield. No one really talks about him in that performance, and obviously with Spider-Man in this, he had a fucking hell of a year.
Yeah, no, he really did.
They should do that, like best
year.
Best year.
Yeah, no, Domhnall Gleeson's 2015, he would have won it back then. When he was in Brooklyn, Star Wars, The Revenant, and Ex Machina.
Yeah.
In one fucking year.
Well, that's what it reminds me of, speaking of The Revenant, like how Leo won for The Revenant when you can argue that like it's not his best performance, or maybe he shouldn't have deserved it that year. Maybe that can be the case for Will Smith.
I always say that Leo should have got it for Wolf of Wall Street, but yeah. No, that may end up happening for Will Smith as well. So you think it's going to be Will Smith? Would that be your prediction?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to predict Will Smith as well. And who would I... it would be between Denzel and Will in terms of my personal preference. So I'll be happy either way.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's going to be Javier Bardem.
Like you said, Will's been in our fucking life since we were kids.
Yeah, he's a legend to us.
I want to see his award speech. I want to see him get the standing ovation and just let him have that moment. He deserves it.
I know he'd give a great speech.
It'd be funny.
Yeah. Maybe he'll rap. All right, let's move to Best Actor in a Supporting Role. We have Ciarán Hinds for Belfast, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. I just want to get this out of the way because I guess I have to say this every time there's a Being the Ricardos nominee. J.K. Simmons, incredible actor. Maybe he should have got it for Omni-Man, but not for this. Not very memorable, not much screen time. He's just kind of being... Not J.K. Simmons, because he's got range as an actor, but it's a character I've already seen him play.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who's the favorite right now. Would you say it's Troy Kotsur?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that would be very deserving. This is another stacked category with 4, I think, great performances. Obviously, you have the 2 with The Power of the Dog, but out of these 5, Troy Kotsur in Coda is the one that stuck with me the most. Even if that wasn't one of my favorite movies of the year, it came very close to my top 10, but his performance was such a standout amongst that cast.
Right, and it's such a, like, I feel like just being like a deaf actor, like you have to rely so much on facial expression and movement and things of that nature, and like that's how you gotta be convincing rather than an actor who can be convincing with their voice. And I think he was just as impactful and convincing and displayed much more emotion than probably any other actor could with his performance there, and it just made it that much more powerful. And yeah, like you said, like Coda, I thought I liked Coda a lot, and I think his portrayal, even the supporting cast and just the whole story around it, just all fit very well. And I think his performance was very, very candid. And I think he's definitely the favorite coming out. I think maybe second I would put Cody Smith-McPhee in Power of the Dog. I didn't really I thought it was good, but I didn't really love that movie too much. But the performances all were pretty strong throughout. And I think he was definitely, especially when he talked about Benedict Cumberbatch delivering, maybe a career best, him going up with him and standing his own in every scene was very impressive.
I mean, he's such he's relatively young to be nominated for an Academy Award. So on that front, it is very impressive. And like you said, being able to hold his own going up against Benedict Cumberbatch, a very complicated and complex movie. And even Jesse Plemons, we've seen him in roles where he's the bad guy and he's very expressive, very emotional. And here he was a bit more subdued, a bit more subtle in his performance. So it was great to see him acknowledged as well. But yeah, Troy Kotsur, Ciarán Hinds in Belfast was such a delightful old man. I just wanted to sit on his lap and have him tell me stories about him working and, breaking down over time. Living a terrible life.
Yeah.
But damn, was he jolly. And Judi Dench, I know she's nominated as well, so... But it's cool to see a guy like this who's obviously at the later stages of his career get this sort of recognition, because he's not a household name. He's not, like some of his contemporaries, but his performance was... I'm glad that they acknowledged it for a movie that's been so controversial. So... But it's Troy Kotsur's race to lose. I think that would be my prediction.
How's Belfast the most controversial? going into.
People just don't like movies with, I guess, uplifting messages, with an optimistic view on life, on dark situations, or distressing situations, complicated situations. Because even Coda's getting that sort of backlash. Oh, this feel-good movie, it's not an Oscar winner.
Yeah, we could talk about it more with Best Picture, but I have no problem with it. And yeah, Kieran Hines, like, there's just something about like old people who've like, but just like, you know, like,
there's wise. It's like a warm blanket wrapped around it.
Right, especially in this movie, and they have that dance scene, and they're just so it's a comforting feeling. And I think he delivered a great performance, but
he's got a great accent. I could listen to him talk all day.
I was upset he was only like in 5 minutes of silence. That's what I paid the ticket for.
No, I mean, they featured him in like 5 seconds of the trailer, so you think you do the math there that he would have some more screen time, but it was literally just that scene where he sends them off. Damn. All right, let's move on to actress in a leading role. So we've got Troy Kotsur there for both of our predictions. This is another stacked category. I'm just going to keep saying that because they did mostly a good job with the nominees. You have Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart, Spencer. So happy that Kristen Stewart managed to nab that nomination. I totally forgot that she was even in this. In my mind, she was still being snubbed. But who's the one gaining momentum here? Is it Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye?
That's what it seems like of late. I'm so like...
This one seems to be the hardest one.
It is, because Olivia Colman, like, if you would ask me like a month ago, 2 months ago, Olivia Colman was picking up steam. And I don't really know how much this plays into it, but coming off of The Favorite only 5 years ago, when was The Favorite? I don't know what time is anymore.
No, not even. I think that's 2018.
Yeah. So maybe
4 years.
They go a different route. I really just wish Kristen Stewart just had more hype surrounding her. Because it seems like the nomination was a victory, and a lot of people are treating it like that. Meanwhile, I think she should win.
Yeah, out of these 5 performances, I would say maybe Kristen Stewart's my favorite, and maybe Penelope Cruz is number 2.
You just watched that, right?
Yeah, just watched that actually last night, and it was fantastic. I also thought the woman who acts opposite her should have got some consideration as well. That's, the Academy Awards is getting better at acknowledging foreign movies, but sometimes it feels like they only get one nomination as a consolation. It's like Drive My Car.
Right.
Where's the acting nominations? Because those actors were great. But if the momentum is moving towards Jessica Chastain, that's fine with me, because The Eyes of Tammy Faye, nowhere close to being my favorite movie of the year, but she was very good. And I remember we did a podcast with Matt Neglia from Next Best Picture, and he was wondering if Jessica Chastain was going to be able to pull this off because it was the first time she's ever transformed in a role. And I think she did nail that very much. I think she elevated a relatively weak story and movie through her performance. But Kristen Stewart, I think that there's always an upset, right? It's like March Madness. One of the 2 seeds or one of the 3 seeds is going to lose. Maybe Kristen Stewart gets that sort of next step of the consolation.
When I tell you,
it's like an apology letter.
When I tell you nothing would make me happier. Nothing would make me happier than Kristen Stewart getting this.
Because her performance was...
Spencer's one of my favorite movies of the year. Like,
I would go as far to say it's a masterclass performance.
Yeah.
Especially when you look where she's come from, her public perception of her talents as an actor, for her to just express herself in such a vulnerable way through that performance.
And the movie is her. Like, she is the film. Like, very rarely do we see a movie.
She's like in every fucking frame.
Yeah, very rarely do we see a movie with a lead that just takes over a film that way, and it's solely focused. The supporting cast, they're there, but they're very much in the background. It is solely her focus. And for her to carry that film and for me to like it that much is just a testament to her performance. And, I know a lot of people didn't like Spencer that much or don't really hold it as high as I do, so maybe that's why they don't elevate Kristen Stewart to as having the best performance in this category. But for me, I think it's...
But I'm so confused at what constitutes an Academy-worthy film these days. Because the Academy and all these other award shows, they don't like Spencer, but they like Don't Look Up.
I can name 10 other movies that should be there besides Don't Look Up.
It just boggles my mind. There's something missing in Spencer where you would feel that... Because I think Spencer's a good movie, but it feels so catered to the Oscars. That's a problem that I think people have with Belfast, even though Belfast is a movie that I very much enjoyed. That it's Oscar bait, which is fine. There's movies like that every single year, and a lot of times they do get that catch. But for me, for Spencer to be looked at as like it's not worthy, it's only the performance that should be highlighted, to me is mind-boggling.
Well, for me, we'll talk about it with Best Picture with Belfast, but I really just want Kristen Stewart. At this point, like, I don't know. I mean, I love Olivia Colman, too. I didn't really love The Lost Daughter, but I think she was very good in that.
She's such a great actress. Nicole Kidman, another great actress, didn't deserve it. But, Olivia Colman. And if they do take things like that into account, I think that would be silly, because we've seen it before where actors can... Mahershala Ali, right? Didn't he go back to back?
Were you forced to, watch I Love Lucy as a kid when you didn't want to?
No, I liked all those old fucking timey shows, dude. I really did.
So you're saying Aaron Sorkin?
Yeah, and it was also like...
Yeah, I do.
Well, Aaron Sorkin is hit or miss for me. It's like 60-40. But for that look into their lives, it just wasn't very interesting to me. That's something that... It felt like a Wikipedia post movie. It was just a week in their lives. I could have just read that in 10 seconds. And see, I appreciated what Amy Poehler did. The documentary style, to me that works better, because when you want to give us the truth, the personal side of their lives, when it's got to be a Hollywood movie, it's always going to be dramatized. Even though they did feature the interviews with the actual cast members, it just all didn't work or come together for me.
So you want Kristen too?
I want Kristen. You know what? I'm going to go out here. I'm going to go out on a limb and predict Kristen Stewart.
Me too.
That's going to be my...
I'm manifesting it. She's my Amy Adams surrogate this year.
But Jessica Chastain has been, she's probably the hardest working woman in Hollywood, right? It seems like she's just got 3 movies out every single year.
Yeah. And she's like, I know when we saw her speak, like, I think she's just very interesting person in the way she was just speaking about her films and everything. That was, the more I think about that, seeing Benedict Cumberbatch, Jessica Chastain, and Villeneuve, those are the 3 that really popped out for me. That was pretty cool.
You're not a big Dionne Warwick fan?
Diane?
I thought it was Dion.
Maybe.
Guess you're not. All right, let's move on to actress in a supporting role. The nominees are Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kristen Dunst for The Power of the Dog, and Ingenue Ellis for King Richard. You know what? This is a hard one to pick through too. So who? I love asking you this because I'm totally lost when it comes to this. Who's got the momentum for this category, Aaron?
Ariana DeBose stuff. Like, I think that's the biggest lock of the night. And well,
yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone I think Jessie Buckley is another great performance. I think her being cast as a young Olivia Colman is. I mean, that's just spot on. And that would be something if they both win, though. That would be, the first time since, I guess, The Godfather that the same character, someone playing the same character won.
Yeah, and it would be the first time ever in the same Oscars.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's right. So that would be, just a neat little...
Yeah, I didn't even put that together. They are the same fucking character.
What casting. Jessie Buckley, too. You see the Men trailer?
Yeah, that looks incredible.
Can't wait for that. But yeah, I think that's the one. We talked about Judi Dench's performance, and that was very good as well. But I feel like Kieran Hines, that's just kind of it was a very nice performance in a good movie, and you deserve the nomination. But I don't think there's anything there to propel a win.
It's so funny because my sister loved the new West Side Story, but she didn't like Ariana DeBose as Anita because she didn't like her singing. And I'm like, listen, music snob. She sounded fine to me.
Yeah.
I'm not over here measuring pitch and all this fucking bullshit. But her performance was...
Did she think of Rachel Zegler? Did she like her?
Yes. No, she loved Maria. And it's funny because people... I don't think a lot of people have been split, but I've heard from, Maria's not good when she's acting, but the singing is phenomenal.
But, that's...
But Ariana DeBose is kind of pulling both off.
Right.
What were you going to say?
I mean, it's West Side Story. I mean, obviously acting's important.
I don't think she was... I thought she was fine as Maria.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was weak. She's there. She's there to be pretty and sing. Don't blame me. Blame the writer.
I mean, the weakest performance is Ansel Elgort.
Right. Yeah.
And...
Well, he's presenting, right?
Oh, God.
They didn't invite Maria, but they invited...
If I was her, I would be like, fuck you guys. I see what you're doing. Oh, just because I said something and now people are calling you out. Now you want me to come present?
Well, I heard that she also had a scheduling conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ariana DeBose has this locked
What would
up.
make you what would be on your schedule for you to be like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to present at the Oscars.
Mini golf?
Like at one of those like cool like places?
Low bar when it comes to me mini golf. I just need holes and sticks.
Give me a windmill.
Yeah, nice windmill never hurt.
I like the ones where you go in and it goes down the chute into the lower level.
Yeah, no, that's fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, you run over. Where did it go? How did I?
Yeah, I think.
It's tough. You know, there's always when you get the nomination, like Ingenue Ellis. Maybe if it was a weaker year, maybe she gets the win here because she was so good. I think that after Ariana DeBose, she would probably be my second favorite performance on this list. Once again, having a lead as good as Will Smith and being able to hold your own. And then Kirsten Dunst in The Power of the Dog, man. You know, I think that it's a movie where it's relying on the strength of the lead performance, but the supporting performances, like you said, they're all so good, and they do such a good job of kind of uplifting that lead performance.
Well, it's always an impressive performance when you can kind of convey different, as the film progresses, you kind of follow her descent, and you kind of have to change and kind of convince the audience that this is a natural thing that's occurring, that you're not trying to force too much the descent. And I think some of the writing maybe didn't make me buy that fully for the movie itself, but her performance in each stage of the film I thought was pretty good. So, yeah. I don't think she's going to win, but good performance.
Well said. So, who are you locking in for this? Ariana DeBose?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that too. I'm not pulling for the upset here because I think she deserves it, and I think she's going to win it. All right, let's move on to animated feature film. First nomination goes to Encanto. Second nomination would be Flea. Third movie, Luca. Fourth, The Mitchells vs. the Machines. And the fifth movie nominated for animated feature film is Raya and the Last Dragon. This is another one where I have no idea where the momentum is leading. I'm going to guess Encanto.
I mean, if it was a popularity contest, yes.
Okay.
And I mean, those songs, man.
I thought
after like the 100th time, you're just like, please stop.
Well, that's every Pixar movie.
Yeah.
I thought The Mitchells versus the Machines near the beginning.
It makes me want to talk about Bruno. If I hear that song again, I just want to keep talking about him, just as a kind of counterculture. But I hope Flea wins, because I think it is the best. You think it's got to win documentary or one of these, right? And you would assume it's documentary. Although, whatchamacallit is, what's it called? Summer of Soul. That's kind of
Summer of Soul was good, man.
So that's tough. You'd assume, though, if you're nominated for 2 awards, both being in a feature category, that you got to win one of them? Or is it good enough to be like, oh, well, being nominated for animated feature and documentary feature, that's basically that's enough, for you to kind of pat yourself on the back for. But
I think that Flea is going to win Best Documentary.
Okay.
And I think that the voters, knowing that it's got that locked up, even though I can't see Summer of Soul upsetting it, because Flea, to me,
it hurts it because it's not you're not your typical animation film. And I think it's kind of like when a foreign film gets nominated for Best Picture, even though with Parasite obviously won, but that's kind of like our way of showing you that you deserve to be here, and that's what we're going to give you, the nomination. I feel like for Flea, it's like, you were a great film, animated, we'll give you this nomination, but you'll win documentary.
Yeah.
It's kind of recognition for what you are, but not necessarily going to win. And I mean, your favorite, Mitchells vs. the Machines.
Hey, man, you know what? That's going to be my predicted winner, because I think Luca and Encanto, there's not a lot of momentum for Luca, but I think that could split a little, or maybe that, not everyone that would vote for Encanto is going to vote for Encanto because of Luca's presence. With Flea, I think it's going to get Best Documentary, and the voters aren't going to also want to give it Best Animated. So my prediction will be The Mitchells versus the Machines. Raya and the Last Dragon, no shot. A movie that I didn't love, actually. So there are 2 movies on here that I can't say that I really liked.
Yeah.
But it would be awesome if Flea won it. But who are you going to guess here?
I want Flea.
Okay.
I definitely want to go with Flea. If
So
not,
you're going to go with Flea?
Yeah. But I feel like Encanto probably would win.
I don't know. I'm feeling upset.
Lord and Miller going from Spider-Verse and winning another one. And what? Like I said, I don't do years well.
The Lego Batman wasn't even nominated. I mean, the Lego Movie I don't think was nominated. But yeah, I guess it's 4 years.
Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah. 2018.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to the next category. We have cinematography, one of my favorites. The first nominee is Dune, Greg Fraser. We have Nightmare Alley, that would be Dan Lauston. The Power of the Dog, Ari Wegner. The Tragedy of Macbeth, Bruno De Bonnell. And West Side Story, Janusz Kaminski. Another stacked category. Besides editing, these, cinematographers to me are just, they're so fucking goddamn important. And it's like every year there's never a guy to me who doesn't deserve it, guy or gal. And once again, I want Greg Fraser to win for Dune.
I think this will be Dune's win.
Yeah, this is the win that Dune gets, right?
Yeah. And just because, I don't know. I think watching that in IMAX was the most sucked in I felt into a movie. And a lot of that has to do with cinematography. It really just made, Arrakis was just goddamn breathtaking. I've never seen, just the desert look so beautiful, like the ocean. It was just and I think he was able to capture that so well. But, Tragedy of Macbeth is right there. And I always
West Side Story.
What?
West Side Story, the cinematography for that, the camera work.
Yeah, especially I saw the clip of the
ball.
Yeah, it's just so good. The choreography and everything that's involved with that. That's why I think Spielberg is just kind of left out. I feel like
no, we take it for granted.
Yeah.
It's just we got used to it.
I know everyone's talking about Jane Campion, but all the different elements that were able, especially with the right away remaking West Side Story, there's going to be some negativity heading into that just because of what it is. But to be able to reimagine that to a modern day and kind of blend
the
together,
Officer Krumke, man.
That's
the camera work there is. If I had the choice, it would be Dune for me because of all the reasons that you said. What they managed to pull off, that's going to be looked at like we look at Lord of the Rings today, where, of course, $200 million is a big budget, but it's not the biggest budget a movie's ever gotten. What they managed to pull off, how real that foreign world looks, the scale of that, and the camera work there is not easy. It's not easy when your movie is going to be operating on a scale that size. But this one tears me apart because Ari Wegner for The Power of the Dog, man, some of those shots were just absolutely stunning.
But for Tragedy of Macbeth, every time
Tragedy of Macbeth, I don't know. It's tough. This is always the hardest one.
You know what it is for me? I think
they all deserve Oscars.
A skilled cinematographer can use black and white in such a way that makes it even more powerful than the way you manipulate shadows. You can watch a black and white film, it can look very dull and plain and doesn't really capture you. But when you're able to manipulate the shadows and use the different angles so well and creates that life to it, and you kind of picture the world in color, but it's still black and white, and you're still entranced into this something that you're not used to seeing. Like with Roma, I think just the way they're able to capture it in that way, and people think sometimes black and white, and I think it can be gimmicky just to be oh, look how
I think so. Sometimes, yeah.
But when it's done well, it's just enthralling and kind of gives you an advantage if you have the skill and you have the ability to capture it in the way that jumps off the screen. It kind of makes it even that much more impressive. So
yeah, I think my prediction is going to be Dune, but for all the points you just made, it hurts my heart if any of these nominees won. Even that Nightmare Alley, man, Guillermo del Toro, he always does manage to, the visual style that he's always able to craft, it's always memorable.
That movie definitely popped. So
it was a very stunning movie. For the vibe that it's trying to capture.
It's not the first one. If it was nominated, it wouldn't be the first thing to jump up into my mind. Oh yeah, but the cinematography, Nightmare Alley. But now that it is, and you kind of reflect on it, and you kind of watch it with that lens, it kind of is okay, you appreciate it a little bit more. But that would probably be at the bottom for me. I would go Dune, Tragedy, Macbeth, Power of the Dog, West Side. Yeah, I think those four are very close, but I think Dune's going to have one major win, and I think it's going to be this.
Okay, so Dan Lawson and Guillermo have collaborated since Crimson Peak. So I think he won for Shape of Water.
And Dune will probably win score too.
Right, yeah, so I'm going to predict Dune for cinematography.
We won't see it.
No, we won't. What about costume design? Is that one of them being cut?
I don't think so.
Okay, well.
So I think it's on the if it's on the list here, then it should be
cool.
Yeah.
All right, so the nominees: Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story. The only movie here that I did not see was Cyrano. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But it got good reviews, and I hear Peter Dinklage was pretty solid in it. So I love the Dink Man, so I got to check that one out. Costume design, I mean, I got to go with my girl Cruella.
Dude.
You talking about fits? Come on.
It was like a 6 out of 10 for me, but 10 out of 10 with the fits.
Yes, and you know what? I think if House of Gucci had the costume design of Cruella, it would have been, once again, you bump up that score a bit because it was kind of missing the sexiness of the fashion world. And that's something that Cruella absolutely nailed. It wasn't the best movie, but when they were going at it, when they were having the fit-offs.
With the fire and then the new it was so sick.
It was fun to watch. So
I kind of enjoy. I like Cruella.
Oscar-nominated Cruella.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my pick. I'm going to go for costume design. Oscar-nominated becomes Oscar winner Cruella.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know anything about the momentum for this category?
No.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go off of sheer feel. And I think it's going to be West Side Story.
Okay. That sounds, It
just sounds right.
Right. I'm going to stick with Cruella because
maybe Dune?
I did love that costume design. And I think with Dune, it's kind of costume design that goes under the radar. I feel like a lot of the costumes in Game of Thrones also weren't as appreciated as much as they should have been. It's normally when the costumes look goofy and fake that they stand out. But when they're just official, when they look like actual military uniforms in a space opera saga, you kind of take it for granted. But those fits were immaculate.
Oscar Isaac doesn't get enough. His fit in the beginning doesn't get enough credit. When
they show up for the signing. House Atreides! Let's move on to directing. Big category, always one of my favorites. Nominees here, we have Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg, the legend himself, for West Side Story. Another stacked category. I'm going to guess the momentum is leading towards Jane Campion.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's probably, not to spoil it, that's probably going to be my prediction for Best Picture. That one I'm a bit more familiar with where the momentum is leading because of how certain movies are going to split the vote. The Power of the Dog just seems like the safest bet.
Yeah.
And hey, Jane Campion, I think she did a fantastic job, returning to movie making after so many years to deliver a movie like this is very impressive. But, you really can't go wrong here. These are 5 movies that I all really loved, really enjoyed. Obviously, I would love to see Hamaguchi win for Drive My Car because that was my favorite movie of the year. But my prediction, I think it's going to be Jane Campion.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think she has the most momentum going into it. It's always weird to see how things change. I feel like Kenneth Branagh was kind of thrown out there a lot a few months ago, but that kind of seems to have subsided. Like you said, Drive My Car, probably my favorite movie of the year. It's just, I really haven't heard anything about directing. I think where that's going to win is screenplay. But, and then with Licorice Pizza, didn't love it. Paul Thomas Anderson, though, great director, obviously. I enjoy pretty much all of his films, but I don't think that really has a shot. And then with Spielberg and West Side Story, for all the reasons we mentioned before, maybe I would put him up there with Jane Campion, but it is a close race, and I think she's going to probably edge him out.
Yeah, Spielberg, I mean, he's got the 2, right, for Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan, and he's been nominated for a bunch more. It seems like they've limited him at 2 Oscars for directing. I don't know, I think it's 4. I think John Ford has 4. So if he did get the 3rd one, that would obviously be huge. He's already a fucking legend.
Yeah.
But I think that this is the best directing that he's done on a film since
Ready Player One.
Munich. Some of the action sequences in Ready Player One are pretty. It's not his fault that movie is what it is, Yeah. I think he actually made the source material better with the changes he made. And I look forward to a sequel. But Spielberg, when people say...
You know what the sequel is going to be called?
Yeah, no, I think that's actually the official sequel book.
Oh, is it?
Ready Player 2.
Uh-huh.
You know what? I get frustrated with Spielberg because of the way he's made movies over the last 2 decades. But he proved once again that what his fanboys say about him is true. He can do anything.
Right.
If you're going to give Spielberg material, it may not be the best version of what that material could be, but it's always going to be good. There's a floor with everything he does, it seems, where at the very least you're going to get amazing camera work. You're going to get just memorable images and just a solid overall movie. And West Side Story is him at the peak of his powers, but it looks like it's Jane Campion's award.
Yeah, and I don't think like I mentioned, like I don't think Power of the Dog like makes my top 10 this year, but it is a very well directed film, and yeah, I don't think it's anything that like I would be shocked or disappointed in and be like, how could she win over Spielberg? But
yeah, no, and obviously I think Hamaguchi did the best job directing his movie this year out of all the nominees, but Drive My Car probably has a better shot of winning in the adapted screenplay category. All right, before we get to the next category, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's video, and that would be Storyblocks. Now, you can click the link in our description box below to check out how Storyblocks is helping creators keep up with the growing demands of modern video content. Storyblocks makes it easier for independent creators to bring their stories to life without sacrificing your video due to time, budget, or resources. With one of their affordable subscriptions, you will receive unlimited downloads for all of the content in the Storyblocks library, which includes templates for softwares like After Effects or all the major Adobe products. There's templates for everything. They also have stock images, as well as graphic designs, background footage, royalty-free music, and so much more. It's a massive library. In fact, everything in the Storyblocks library is royalty-free, and yours to use as many times as you like, because that's the main goal of Storyblocks, making it easier for creators to create. And once again, you can click the link in our description box below and choose a plan that works for you from a selection of flexible and affordable subscriptions, so that you can focus all your energy on creating without limits. All right, let's move on to the next category. We have documentary feature. We have Ascension, Attica, Flea, Summer of Soul, and Writing with Fire. So I've only seen 2 of these, Summer of Soul and Flea. Attica sounds interesting. It's about the prison riot. Attica. Writing with Fire, I have no idea even what it's about. Ascension, same thing. So documentary filmmaking is something that I feel bad that I haven't sought out enough of them. Yeah. And I feel like I should change that.
Well, that's what I appreciate about Sundance is like they do push the documentaries, and I very much enjoyed them. So maybe for next year's Oscars, I'll be pretty better at this. But for this year, I mean... Well,
every year I say, you know what, I'm going to seek out the documentary nominations, and I never do.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to watch Naruto.
But it's like it's stupid because every good documentary I watch, I fucking love documentaries.
Yeah, every time I watch a documentary, I'm like, this is the best. Yeah. I'm so invested in this. And then I just never watch another one for 7 years.
But I think this is, with being said that, like, I haven't seen many of these, Flea is my choice. And I think it's like, Flea is one of my favorite movies of the year, documentary aside. So it's hard to kind of, I don't know. The way that it kind of broke through and got into the animated category and being nominated for that, I think tells a lot about how the Academy views this film. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's the same thing or if they weigh it the same, but like a foreign language film that's nominated for Best Picture and it's the only one, you kind of assume that it's going to win international feature because it kind of broke through that plateau into that quote unquote next that next level, where you could argue that's kind of the same thing with Flea. It broke through the documentary ceiling into animated, so they might hold it in higher regards than the other documentaries, even though it is a little different because it is unique in that it is animated opposed to the other ones. But
yeah, I think Flea would definitely be my prediction here. One of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my life. So I'm excited for them to get up there and talk about what the film actually is for a lot of people that probably haven't seen it.
Definitely check. I think it's on Hulu, so...
Yeah, I think it's streaming on Hulu.
Yeah,
so
Hulu, definitely check it out.
Definitely check it out. Couldn't recommend that enough. But Flea would be my prediction there, and I imagine you share that prediction as well, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to documentary short subject. We have Audible, Lead Me Home, The Queen of Basketball, 3 songs for Benazir, and When We Were Bullies.
I'm rooting for the Queen of Basketball.
So am I. The Queen of Basketball, it's about the only woman ever drafted to the NBA.
Oh, I don't even know. I just like basketball.
Yeah, and apparently she won 3 straight high school championships. So she, it's only 18 minutes long. It's obviously a documentary short. Her name was Lucy Harris Stewart. And I was always familiar with I knew that a woman had been drafted to the NBA in the 70s, but her backstory, it's always been not a mystery to me, but I was just ignorant to it. So that's definitely one that I would check out. That's definitely one that I would like to check out, and that will be my prediction.
What about When We Were Bullies? I feel like bullies have been getting a bad rap. This could be a big win for the bullies.
Yeah, I think we need to bring back bullying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to film editing here. We have Don't Look Up, Hank Corwin, Dune, Joe Walker, King Richard, Pamela Martin, The Power of the Dog, Peter Scaberis, and Tick Tick Boom, Myron Kierstein and Andrew Weisblum. Film editing, the most important award in terms of what actually goes into making a film. This isn't being aired, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yo, fuck the Academy.
Don't Look Up. Adam McKay's edit, obviously he's not editing it, but he has an influence because I feel like a lot of
they all look the same. They're all edited the same way.
Yeah, and I wonder if he uses the same editor, but it's definitely his influence on it, I feel like. And it can be very jarring. I think when you look at a film like The Big Short, I think it's actually wonderfully edited. And in Vice, sometimes, even though I really like Vice, at times some of the edits are very jarring. And even in this movie.
Right, and I understand what they're going for, that it's a different style, but sometimes, they say the mark of great editing is when you don't notice it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like, out of these movies, which one do I feel was the best paced? And for me, it would be The Power of the Dog. I don't know who is the favorite here. Pacing was not a huge problem that I had with Dune, but it was definitely one of my problems with the movie. Tick Tick Boom, not one of my favorite movies of the year, so it's hard for me to remember. I guess the editing really doesn't work for me, and that's another movie that it took a lot of interesting choices. Obviously, it's got the musical aspects as well, so it's going to be a bit more scattered, more high energy, and for a lot of people that it really worked.
But I really like Tick Tick Boom, and that's I think that's a difficult thing to do with the musical, definitely. Especially because you need to know when to put what song, when you got to raise the energy, when you got to lead up to it, kind of space it out a little, implement all right, how much time in between songs, when do we change the mood up? So I think there's a different element that goes into editing a musical. But Dune, I think, is very like you said, with the pacing of Dune being a longer feature film. I mean, that movie flies by for me. And I think for some people it might not. It might feel like a drag. So
yeah, how the hell was Drive My Car now nominated for editing? That's weird.
They couldn't finish it.
They're like, all right, well, you lost me at the 2-hour mark, buddy.
But you think you could go on Power to the Dog?
Yeah, do you have any inclination of who's the favorite here?
No, I'll go with Dune because I like Dune.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with The Power of the Dog. All right, let's move on to the next one. We have international feature film, Drive My Car. Mm-hmm. Flea, The Hand of God, Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom, and The Worst Person in the World.
I keep forgetting Flea's nominated for this. It's the category just The Worst Person in the World and Drive My Car are the ones that kind of stick with me. And since Flea being nominated for feature, documentary, and animated, you kind of forget. That's fucking impressive. Yeah. 3 major feature film category nominations.
It is very impressive. The only one on this list...
It's got to get one. So, I think I'm very strong that it's going to win documentary now.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get documentary. And I think it's going to be Drive My Car for this one. It's way more predictable because it's the only movie that's nominated for Best Picture. And I don't think that there's going to be an example of them awarding The Worst Person in the World because it wasn't nominated for Best Picture, even though a lot of people wanted it to be. People wanted a bunch of nominations for that movie. So as much as I would like to also see it get that acknowledgement, get up on the stage, mm-hmm. talk about your film, get more eyeballs on it, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be Drive My Car.
In what world is Don't Look Up deserving of a nomination over Worst Person in the World? And you know how much more fun that would have made this category?
Right, because Yeah, no, it made it so much more fun
With
because
Drive
it wouldn't
My
have been
Car
as predictable.
And The Worst Person in the World. And then you can even throw Flea in there because, like...
Yeah, no, it would have made it more competitive for all three.
Because, like, it's even Best Picture nomination for a documentary. I'm sure, like, maybe you could still make the same argument that we are now, that Worst Person in the World can't win because it's not nominated for Best Picture. You can make the same argument for Flea. But with its other nominations, you can kind of maybe even group that together into, like, a reason why it has a chance to win. But the fact that The Worst Person in the World isn't nominated and Drive My Car is, it's kind of, yeah, I think that's just the lock. It has to be. Imagine, though, if Worst Person in the World wins. What is the criteria for Best Picture nominee?
Yeah.
I actually want to see that happen. But, like, again, it's just international. Like, 3 films on this list make my top 10. And I don't think the 3 films in Best Picture category do, with 10 nominations.
Well, dude, I mean, 3 of these films make my top 10 as well. The Worst Person in the World didn't, but The Hand of God did. So people were joking when these nominations came out that Best International Feature Film is a stronger category than Best Picture, pound for pound. Like I said, I haven't seen Lunana. It's got great reviews. It's actually a movie that came out a few years back, but I guess it just got its U.S. release or worldwide release this year. But like I said, my prediction for this is going to be Drive My Car.
Yeah. Well deserving.
Next category, we'll go through this one fast. Makeup and hairstyling. We have Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci. Ooh, I feel like this is going to be tight between Cruella and The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I mean, makeup just stands out to me because of Tammy Faye's ridiculous makeup.
Yeah.
But it looked good in the movie.
I'd like to see House of Gucci win. Just because I think that would be funny. Then Lady Gaga stands and go crazy. Then we see more Jared Leto memes. It'll be a whole thing.
Well, the marketing that she did for House of Gucci was just outstanding. She spoke about that movie as if it was the most critically acclaimed film that's ever been released. Giving us all these insider information, her preparation, how dedicated she was to the role. And everyone was like, nobody asked us for this. But, she tried her best. I like Lady Gaga as a performer when it comes to acting.
She's good.
Yeah, no, she is good. You could tell that she really cares about it. But yeah, I'm going to guess The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Who's you going to be? What's your prediction, Aaron?
House of Gucci.
Okay, House of Gucci.
Just for fun.
House of Hamaguchi. Original score. We have Don't Look Up, Nicholas Britell. Dune, Hans Zimmer, my favorite. And Encanto, we have Jermaine Franco. Parallel Mothers, we have Alberto Iglesias. And The Power of the Dog, we have Johnny Greenwood, Radiohead alum. Yeah, it looks like Dune is going to win this for Hans Zimmer. I think he's got 1 or 2 Oscars. I'm not entirely sure.
When did he win for last? Did he win for Dunkirk? No.
I know he won for... I'm pretty sure his first win was Lion King.
Yeah, and you hated his score for Dunkirk.
I didn't like the... And even Dune, dude, it's like best score of the year? Okay. It's all just, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going down this rabbit hole. Go ahead. You make your points.
I like the score.
Yeah.
I think, for the reasons like you don't like them sometimes, I kind of do. I think it kind of just, I don't know. It kind of just sets the tone and kind of fits what is on screen very well and kind of amplifies it to in a way that kind of...
Hum one theme from Dune. Hum one melody.
I remember it. I remember my feeling while watching it. I don't know if I can go bar for bar.
That is what's missing today, I feel, in music. Where are all the melodies, especially in the blockbusters? Come on, man. I want some leitmotifs.
Can you hum any of these?
No.
So...
No, I'm not saying any of them are better than the other.
I can hum the Batman. Maybe that should win.
Yes. No, see, Giacchino does a better job, I think, of being Hans Zimmer than Hans Zimmer does, but that's a conversation for another day. Yeah, my prediction would be Hans Zimmer, Dune. I would love to see my boy Johnny Greenwood get one. I don't think he's received an Oscar yet for Best Original Score. His scores are always so good. I mean, There Will Be Blood.
Nicholas Patel would be pretty cool, too, but I don't think... Who knows?
I can't remember. Don't Look Up at a score?
I don't know.
All right, let's move on to the next category here. We have music, original song.
What a fucking mishap by Encanto not submitting We Don't Talk About Bruno. I probably didn't see it becoming like a number 1 song. I think the first number 1 song from since A Whole New World, maybe.
Oh, okay, for Disney.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it a number one song? It really charted at number one?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
It was from Little Mermaid. I forget, but yeah, it's definitely it became immensely popular. I don't even remember this song. I know Surface Pressure, but anyway, yeah. Encanto, I guess, picked the wrong song, but I do think they're going to perform it at the Oscars, which is weird.
I thought No Time to Die was a solid Bond song.
Me too.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I love Billie Eilish.
I actually heard the song.
Yeah, I've heard the song.
And I actually do like Billie Eilish, but I don't know. I would assume maybe either that or Lin-Manuel. Get a little EGOT going.
Oh, boy, yeah. He's another one that, as a Puerto Rican, I'm supposed to support him. Mm-hmm. But he's just so annoying.
I just hate when I hear songs that other people sing. It's just so very much his lyrics. It's like you could just tell it's a Lin-Manuel song. And it's just like someone else doing Lin-Manuel things.
Yeah, no, I'll predict No Time to Die for that one.
Me too.
My girl Billie Eilish, who was inspired by Kanye West's Yeezus. People don't talk about that enough.
She should get the Oscar just for that.
Kanye's going to run up on stage and be like, you stole my whole sound. All right, let's move on to the big one. Best Picture. The nominees here, we have Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune,
King
King Richard.
First? Because this list is out.
Okay, we'll go to screenplays first.
Pictures.
All right.
We can skip visual effects. We'll go Dune. Imagine if Spider-Man No Way Home wins visual effects. I want to see film Twitter just fucking explode.
Yeah, for these technical ones, who are you going for sound? I'm going to go Dune for sound as well.
Remember the sound from Mad Max?
Oh, yeah, that was
should win every year.
The way they did the category introduction for that year for sound was so fucking dope. But I think the sound design in Dune was fantastic.
There might be a scenario
that was better than the score.
Where Dune gets all these like visual effects, sound, and all the technical awards, and I think that's a win. Like, even though you're not going to get Best Picture, no nomination for Best Director, no actors, if you can like pick up a majority of the technical aspects, I think you're very happy with that.
Well, let's go to production design. Nominees there would be Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. That's another one where I think it can be Dune. Macbeth, that will be my prediction. I'm going to go with Macbeth because I kind of want Macbeth to squeeze one out here. And I think that production design, obviously being influenced by German Expressionism and the Bergman movies, and of course Akira Kurosawa's adaptation of Macbeth, what they managed to create on that set was you get so lost in that world, which is clearly not a real world, but it takes you back to that old style of making movies, you know?
Yes. West Side Story. Why does West Side Story doesn't get any hate for having green screen? That's when Spider-Man
Well, it looks good.
It does look good.
As long as the green screen looks good, right?
I guess.
We'll breeze through these. I mean, like I said, maybe next year I'll pay more attention to the best animated short. But Affairs of the Art, Bastia, Box Ballot, Robin, The Windshield Wiper. I'm going Robin.
I feel like The Windshield Wiper has some deep meaning.
Best short film live action. We have Take and Run, The Dress, The Long Goodbye, On My Mind, and Please Hold.
I'm saying yes to The Dress.
I'm going to say The Long Goodbye because Riz Ahmed is one of the nominees.
Oh, yeah, I just see that. Okay, yeah, I'll root for Riz.
Yeah, because he's got the name power there, so they might just go with him. Did we do visual effects? So the nominees, oh, yeah, well, it's going to be Dune. The nominees were Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man No Way. That would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, just to see the internet cringe and cry. All right, let's do the two writing categories. We'll start with adapted screenplay. The nominees there are Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. This is where I think Drive My Car gets its one Oscar win. Give Hamaguchi the chance, and also Takamasa Oi. It's been so well deserved. I still feel like this should have gotten some more nominations when it comes to acting. But
yeah,
like I said, the Murakami stories people have made this point, they're so hard to adapt, especially when you're going to make a 3-hour epic like Drive My Car. So the way adapted screenplay, I always thought original screenplay was always better when I was a younger fan of the Oscars, because I'm like, oh, it's original. They thought of it.
Right.
But there's an immense challenge for adapted screenplay as well.
Well, it's like the old, it's never as good as the book, or it's not good as this, or the source material. That comes from people not being able to adapt very well.
Yeah.
So,
most of the times it really does, man. The script is everything.
when you can adapt, it actually is impressive because you're taking somebody else's words, making your own, and portraying it in a authentic way. So, yeah, I think Drive My Car gets this, which is very interesting. Because if you want The Power of the Dog to win, and you think it's going to win Best Picture, it's going to be no screenplay, no cinematography. It'll probably get the directing, so that probably is like the easiest path, or like best correlation to what might win Best Picture. But and if it doesn't, then it opens it up for a while, because then you have Coda not winning anything, and that's another one that's gaining steam. So Jane Campion wins directing, Drive My Car wins Best Picture, adapted screenplay, and Power of the Dog doesn't win Best Picture, then it's kind of like a wide open lane.
Yeah, I think if one of these awards went to, like, say, Best Adapted does go to either Coda or The Power of the Dog, I think you start to realize that's going to be your Best Picture winner.
If Power of the Dog wins, if Jane Campion wins and it wins adapted, it's going to win Best Picture.
Right. But yeah, no, I think it leaves it up. It makes it more of a mystery if Drive My Car can pull this out. But I think this is the award that they have to give Drive My Car, you know? Because they're not going to give it Best Picture. They're not going to give it the...
It's going to win an international.
Right, that is true. Yeah, it is going to win international. Yeah, so maybe we might see an upset here. I'm going to stick with Drive My Car.
Me too. I really hope so.
And as for original screenplay, the nominations are Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. Another interesting set of movies here. I mean, The Worst Person in the World being in this category, it's what the hell? How the hell was it not nominated for Best Picture? Just shove it in here.
Yeah, I think
it's worthy.
The only nominations for screenplays that not Best Picture, The Lost Daughter and Worst Person in the World.
Right.
So...
do you have any idea of where this is leaning?
Don't Look Up winning would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, just to see Adam McKay up there
Do you know
and yell at
about
people.
Climate change?
No. I would love to see The Worst Person in the World win this. I think you can award The Worst Person in the World. I mean, this award is not going to have I think a big indication for Best Picture. But
if Belfast wins,
right. But I think that, this can be kind of a wash when it comes to the Best Picture race, where you can just, like, here, Worst Person in the World, here's your Oscar. You're not going to get Best International, but you were the best written film.
That would actually make me very happy, because it is a very clever, very funny, very emotional, it hits a lot of different beats, and
it's also got the best dance scene when they're dancing to One Thing. I wish he wouldn't have changed it, because they were...
I like the Belfast dance scene.
Oh, okay.
It's more of a song and dance.
You don't like One Thing by...
You don't like Everlasting Love?
That's fair.
Dude, I love a fucking good dance scene in a movie, especially when it just breaks, comes out of nowhere. Like Call Me By Your Name. It's a good dance number.
Right. Pennywise and It.
Yeah. Especially when it's like a little awkward and it's not like a West Side Story, just like choreographed, like, oh, this is supposed to be good dancing. Just people just dancing.
Yeah, just dancing, enjoying the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Best Picture, big one.
So what do you think, Worst Person in the World?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna guess Worst Person in the World. That's gonna be my prediction.
I want Drive My Car adapted Belfast original, because I think that would make just Best Picture. Or even Worst Person in the World, I would want to win, but Belfast would be just be fun, just because.
Fuck some things up.
Yeah, just make everything seem wacky. I'm rooting for chaos this year.
All right, final category here. We have Best Picture, the Mac Daddy of all the categories. So the nominees, we have Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. Overall, I think it's a good list for Best Picture nominations. We've ragged on Don't Look Up enough, probably.
I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't know, just Best Picture. Ooh.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. A lot of people have been saying that Coda and Belfast are going to split the vote. That the big three right now are Coda, Belfast, and The Power of the Dog. So them splitting the vote is going to lead to The Power of the Dog. And that is going to be my prediction.
Why would they... Because they're just the feel-good type movies?
Yeah, I think they have similar vibes, which is not something that I agree with.
I think Belfast has like at least. I feel like Coda definitely matches it. I described it, and this is not like a negative at all, but it's like a Disney Channel movie for adults, and just the way, like, just the vibes of it, and that's fine. Like, I think it was a good movie, but I don't understand like the best picture hype for it. I think Belfast is a better film, but it's tough. It's tough. It's tough when like the favorites, none of them are at the top of my personal list. If I had to rank these, I would probably go Drive My Car, Dune, maybe West Side Story, Nightmare Alley, Belfast. I haven't even, so Belfast would be my favorite out of those favorites. Then I would put the rest all into the same category with Don't Look Up at the bottom. Power of the Dog, I didn't love too much, but I think if it does, especially if it gets adapted in directing, it's going to get Best Picture. But
when you compare it to previous winners over the years, The Power of the Dog is so much better than movies like Spotlight or Green Book. I even think it's better than The Shape of Water. And I think you can make that argument for Coda and Belfast as well. So I'm not as bothered by the favorites this year as other people are.
No, I think they're all good, but I just don't.
You're not vibing with them.
Nothing really pops for me here besides like Drive
My Car. Is there a chance? Like, what needs to happen?
I think.
Do they just have a Parasite? Because I feel like Parasite came out of nowhere a little bit.
I think it had momentum. It would have to be like Spielberg wins directing, Drive My Car wins adapted, and Belfast wins original, or even Worst Person in the World wins original. Then it's just like, okay, no one knows.
Dude, what about West Side Story? Dune. Is there like a three-headed monster here that splits the vote? Where it's becoming like a Power of the Dog, Coda, Belfast race, and then West Side Story just racks up maybe the number twos?
What if Dune?
That would be too good to be true.
No, I would really like that.
Dune for me is because I love the Dune universe and the fact that it just kicked off what could potentially be the Dune extended universe, and I love Denis Villeneuve. I would celebrate that win.
The DCEU?
Yeah, exactly.
Dune Cinematic Extended Universe.
But better. DCEU plus.
Your own streaming service there.
Yeah.
But I think if anything, if part 2, I think, is just as good as part 1 and received the same way, I think that's maybe then we'll see that.
See, I think that it's going to be the opposite with Dune. I think part 2 is going to kind of just go under the radar. Or it's going to be a thing almost like a Get Out to Us type situation, where Us was not just as acclaimed, but it was a pretty big hit. And no love whatsoever. It's like, oh, how come that was shut out, but the performances were just as good as Get Out? The story maybe not as good, but pretty strong. And I think Dune Part 2 may go that way, where it's just, oh, Dune again, we have to acknowledge this again. I hope it doesn't. And I think it can be better than Part 1. I think it needs to be like...
I guess it depends what it comes out with.
Not substantially, but like masterpiece territory. Because Fellowship didn't win Best Picture, but Return of the King did, because they just kept getting better, So to release a better movie than Fellowship of the Ring, it's tough. And I think for a lot of people to say, hey, can you make a better movie than Dune based on how well it was received? That's a tall task. I would love to see him do it. If one man could pull it off, it would be him. But not this year. I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to say my prediction. It's obviously the biggest award of the night. I'm going to play it safe with The Power of the Dog. I think that there's not going to be as many surprises this year.
Yeah. And I think the screenplays might split, and then... judging off of Campion winning director, I'll go to Power of the Dog. I need to watch that again. Like I said, I didn't hate it, but I just didn't get, like, I didn't see it and was like, that's Best Picture, or that's going to make my top 5, like I did when I left, like when I left Drive My Car, I'm like, that's number 1 for me so far, but I don't see that leaving my top 5. I just didn't really get that from Power of the Dog. If going off of like the three movies people are kind of pushing up, I would say Belfast.
Well, you thought The Power of the Dog was going to be a documentary about Chris Russo, right?
That's
that's for Nash.
That's a deep cut, or a cut for just sports radio and film fans.
I can't. I don't know why it popped in my head, but the idea of The Power of the Dog being about Chris Russo to me is the funniest thing ever.
No, I actually confuse it with that Channing Tatum movie.
You can't be a cowboy. What? Oh.
When he has the dog. I'll tell you what a great title for that movie. Just Dog.
Dog.
Yeah. I think I'll watch Power of the Dog again this weekend, but I want Dune. I want Drive My Car.
Fucking Don't Look Up, man.
Reasonable.
Just taking up a spot.
I'm going to go Belfast.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I like the everlasting love scene. But
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to play it safe here with that prediction. My gut's telling me if it's not Power of the Dog, I don't know why, go with West Side Story. I think that would be a nice little win for Spielberg in that movie.
Yeah, he deserves it.
That would be right. That would be hilarious if West Side Story didn't win anything else, and it's just Best Picture, West Side Story.
Does that happen? I'm sure there has
Moonlight
been cases.
Moonlight won Best Supporting Actor.
Barry Jenkins?
Barry Jenkins wasn't Best Director that year. I'm pretty sure it was Chazelle. And Moonlight didn't win. I'm pretty sure Damien Chazelle won that, right? He was the youngest director ever. I'm trying to remember who's the director of Spotlight, and I think he did win Best Director. I don't know. We would have to go back and look at that. But it'll be interesting to see if things play out.
Parasite, obviously, a director and international, and what one? I have my Oscar memory is shot. I feel like most of the time you need either a screenplay or a director.
Hey man, maybe if Spielberg pulls out Best Director,
I forgot.
All bets are off.
Nomadland won last year.
Holy shit, dude! The other day I was desperately trying to think what won Best Picture last year, and I just gave up.
Because I
don't know why didn't I look it up?
I googled it.
Okay. No, I guess I just lost my train of thought the other day.
I don't know if because it doesn't feel like it was last year, or like that movie just like didn't stick with me as long.
It's a Mickey Mouse Best Picture winner. It's a bubble championship for Chloe Zhao. Sorry.
Chloe Zhao.
Chloe.
Yeah,
look, LeBron followed it up by getting knocked down the first round, and she followed it up with Eternals. Come on.
I like the Turtles.
Me too.
Oh, that's so
No Man Land was actually a very good movie.
Who won Best Actor last year? Who won the acting awards?
This is actually freaking me out.
Dude, I don't remember. Anthony Hopkins.
Right, yeah, for The Father, right?
Wow. Mickey Mouse Oscar.
Daniel Kaluuya has a fucking Oscar. Totally forgot about that. Minari was probably best movie of that year.
Yeah, and Frances McDormand, obviously, for Best Actress.
Yeah. Well, that's our Oscars recap of last year, and also our Oscars prediction and preview for the 94th Academy Awards. We'll probably wrap it up there. Comment your thoughts down below. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think our predictions are stupid? Do you think they're accurate? Are you in any money pools? If you are, you got to give us 10% if you end up winning and taking our predictions.
Does anyone ask you to do their pools for them?
Yeah, and I'm like, some of these categories I don't know, guys. So I'm
like, I'm just gonna like go off of whatever everyone else is predicting.
Yeah.
Because what I think should win is never gonna win.
But that's often, the best way to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
Because my sister and her husband, they're really into the pools because one of their local bars does it every year.
Yeah.
So they're really tapped into the bloggers and the odds and stuff like that. But it's always fun. It'll be fun to watch it. I'm sure you'll be live tweeting it, right?
Yeah, I think I'll be with Nash or whatever. Maybe I'll just watch it by myself.
Right, and I'm going to be.
Should have hopped on those Mickey Mouse Oscar thing last year. That would have been a fun bit.
Yeah, it would have been really fun.
Francis McMickey's road to a Mickey Mouse Oscar.
Yeah, you do the whole breakdown. COVID pandemic, theaters closed. Meryl Streep didn't make a movie. It'd be actually pretty funny. All right, guys, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. We'll probably recap the winners on next week's podcast. So be on the lookout for that. And that's some nerd soup.
I'm actually excited. I feel like it's going to be chaotic. And you know what to think about it? I think this year, more than most years, what do you think pops off? Like, what do you think the general public's like, oh, I saw that?
Well, in terms of box office...
Dune.
Right. Well, if West Side Story does have a good day, I think that can become like where people start to really jump into that movie because now it's available on streaming services because that kind of came and went, right? Mm-hmm. But I guess Dune, in terms of the popularity, has the biggest fan base, right? Yeah.
But my grandma liked Belfast, so if that's any indicator, bet on Belfast.
Yeah, Belfast feels like a movie that old people would like, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like it so much. But maybe we're just two old souls.
Yeah, West Side Story was for the olds. I feel like the olds like quoted too, like, "Oh, that was nice."
Yes.
Yeah. Hated Dune.
Oh no. Well, my mom liked it. I was impressed by that.
I don't consider your mom old.
She's 67.
Really?
Yeah. Gene's running the family. All right, guys. Peace.
Damn. We were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Suit Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Beau says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.